Hi everyone, in this video let's look at how you configure WPA3 Enterprise with the Cisco 9800 controller. Just before go to the controller side, let me just walk through. So you can configure SSID with WPA3 Enterprise only, which means we are addressing only one AKM value across all the SSID, all the band. So now if you want to enable 11R, then you can enable particular AKM value 3. So if you enable 11R, so AKM 5 and 3 being broadcast. So now in this kind of scenario, you simply able to connect only WPA3 client. Your WPA2 client will not able to join. So if you want your WPA2 client also to be connected, the same SSID, you have to enable a mode called transition mode. That means you enable WPA2 and WPA3 on the same SSID. So in this particular setup, you can enable AKM value 1 and 5 on your SSID, but this WPA2 AKM value 1 only can be configured in legacy band 2.45 GHz. So you cannot configure AKM value on 6 GHz band. That way, even you configure SSID like this, controller point of view, they will only push the AKM value 5 for the 6 GHz band. So no transition mode in 6 GHz band. So in this particular setup, you will be able to connect WPA2 and WPA3 client. So let me go to my controller and simply walk through and show some client connectivity as well. Now in here, I have, if I go to the configuration, WLAN. So I have different security method configured, but I will focus on the enterprise security. In that way, I am going to WPA, enterprise security enable SSID, name called mrn1x. Now the important part is security. Now in here, you can see I have only configured WPA3 policy, and then we have to select particular AKM value. Now, if you remember now WPA3 and WPA enterprise kind of security AKM value, AKM 1, 3 and 5. Okay, those are the WPA2 AKM. If you enable AKM value 5 with PMF enable, that will become a WPA3. In that way now, whenever you select WPA3, you will see different values here. In that way now, you can see now .1x point of view, there's one value here, another value there. All others are personal security and enhanced open kind of security. In that way, you can enable these two options. So if you enable this, this will become AKM value number 3. This is AKM value 5. For the simple activity here, I'm only enabling one AKM value 5. There are no fast transition support here. Okay, that's how the SSID being configured. Now, if I want to connect a client, so now I have my Windows client. Now let me just bring that client across. Now in here, if I type, netsh WLAN show interface. So at the moment, my adapter is not connected to this SSID. So now what I'm going to do is I will go ahead and connect to that mrn1x SSID. mrn1x, this one, I will connect. Now it is connected. Now if I issue the same command again, netsh WLAN show interface. Now you can see I'm connected to mrn1x security method called WPA2 Enterprise. Don't too much of go by this name. We need to understand what's happening here. Now if you look at here as well, it says there are two link ID. Link ID number 1, link ID number 2. ID number 3. So now 5 GHz and 6 GHz. So client connected using two links, which is typically common in Wi-Fi 7. So that way now if you look at the AKM value, you can see AKM value 5, Cipher suite value number 4, which is saying that we are using a CCMP 128B. Now, if you go to the controller, if you look at the monitor client here, if you click on the summary page, you can see it is a MLO 11BE. It says a Wi-Fi 7 connection, but if I click on the client MAC address, now if I look at it says this is a MLO cable client currently associating 2 slot. If you click here to view the detail, now this is that client passing traffic on 6 GHz mostly. You can see here number of receive packet, number of transmit and receive. So you can see 6 GHz traffic being passing, but still can't establish connection using 5 GHz as well. So now if you look at security information, you can see it is using WPA3, CCMP AES, which is 128-bit. I am using .1next chart. This is AKM value 5. Okay. So now this is what exactly we are showing the previous kind of slide. Let me just go back to the WPA3-Enterprise slide information which I showed you earlier. Now the transition mode I have configured this mode, enterprise mode only. So we're addressing AKM value 5, the encryption cipher being AES 128. So now this is something, now if I go back to the controller, now if you really want, let me just see whether it's supporting here. If you go to the configuration, WLAN, now to get Wi-Fi 7 client to be higher encryption, you can enable GCMP 256. Okay. So now sometime when you click here, you can see it giving a bit of a warning. Valid encryption methods are, if I want to select this, still complaining, GCMP 256 supported in the WPA3 personal and OWE kind of setup. Okay, in the current controller configuration version, current software version, you cannot enable GCMP 256 on WPA3 Enterprise only kind of SSID. This is basically if you want to, for example, now if I untick this, now if I select this, you can see .1next, this is the AKM value 12, the 192-bit security. So GCMP 256 currently being supported only with this setting in the .1next scenario. Okay, in that way, for us to get WPA3 Enterprise, we have to disable GCMP 256, so we can enable AKM value 5. That's what we did for this SSID. Okay, in that way, that's now if you want to now in this particular setup, if you want to basically enable fast transition, now before enabling fast transition, so let me quickly show, now even, I think if you're familiar with ls-wifi, that's one option available, now if I go to, probably I will link the video talking about ls-wifi, how to get the Wi-Fi detail in the Windows environment. ls-wifi, if you type that, if you install this particular program, you will get all the detail about your SSID. Okay, so now it will give a lot of detail, but now I'm interested about mrn.1next SSID. In that way, what I will do is I will type the same command, ls-wifi. I will filter include my name, this SSID. So this will filter. Now you can see, let me expanding a little bit here because some information being filtered. Now you can see now if I filtered that, they will say there are 3 beacon frame. Okay, channel number 21.149 and 2.4 band, channel number 6 being advertised. In that way, now whatever the AKM value being broadcast, .1x with SHA-256, encryption group and broadcast cipher being CCMP 128. Okay, so now that's what's being broadcast. Now if you want this to be basically appear as a PCAP file, you can simply use export kind of keyword. This should be exporting as a PCAP file. Now let me now show that as well. Now it says wherever your install folder. If I go to that folder, I think I already. Now you can see if you look at the time here, 2:41. That's my timestamp here. So this is the file being captured. Now if I open this file, open in Wireshark. So this will have this 3 beacon frame. I will use that later. Information. So you can see in the 6 GHz beacon, you should have RSN information element. RSN information. Now it says group cipher, AES-128, pairwise cipher. If you expand this, AES-128, AKM value, only one AKM being advertised, which is the AKM value 5. Okay, and RSN capability, it should say PMF required, PMF capable, both bits set to true. And because now management frame is mandatory, you are basically enforcing a management cipher. That's also BIP CMAC 128 bit. So that's the number 6 value here. Okay, so this is the information element important for security. Now what we'll do is basically just enable fast transition as well. So now in that way you will understand whether now I'm going to say SSID, now security. Now I want to enable fast transition. So whenever I'm enabling fast transition, I need to make sure I select this FT plus .1x. So if I select this, they're complaining fast transition must also be enabled. So you have to make sure you enable this option as well. Now I just took those 2 clicks and I update and apply. Typically when you do this kind of configuration, your client will be disconnecting. Okay, in that way if I go and check my Windows client, probably you will see it may be disconnected already. Let's check. Now netsh. Okay, he's already still connected back. He may be already connected back. Now in this particular time you can see the AKM value number 3. Previously when we checked this connectivity, he was connected with AKM value 5. Okay, now why is this different? Because now whenever you enabling fast transition, that's in the client connectivity point of view, they will treat that as a bit more higher security. Okay, in that way always AKM 3 will be preferred over AKM value 5. Okay, in that way now you can see now client basically connected AKM value 5, AKM value 3, which is indicating with fast transition. Now in this particular time as well, my Windows client able to establish connection across 2 links. Now in here, if I go to the ls-wifi detail for that, probably for my SSID, now you can see here AKM value, I am addressing 2 AKM value, FT plus .1x and just .1x. Still encryption cipher point of view, you can see I cannot enable GCMP 256. I'm sure in the upcoming sort of releases, Cisco will add that as well. In that way, Wi-Fi 7 client, sometime enterprise client can try GCMP 256. but at the moment it is just CCMP 128. Okay, so now in this particular case, again, if you want to get a packet capture, you can use with the that export command. This will export this 3 beacon frame as a PCAP file. Okay, so now file number is 553. So if I go here, so 553, if I expand that, now you will be able to see RSN detail, RSN information. That's what you need to look for. Now AKM suite count is 2, the value being advertised, number 3 and number 5. So now this is basically WPA3 only. So I will do another sort of a short video for the transition mode, because now in this particular case, I have a WPA2 client. So let me trying to connect that client. Probably you will see I am not able to connect in that client because this SSID only configured for WPA2, WPA3 Enterprise. Okay, so that way now if I go to my controller, monitor client. So at the moment I have connected my Windows laptop or Windows computer, which is Wi-Fi 7 capable. Now let me just initiate a connection from a WPA2 client and make sure it is not able to connect. Let me just show that as well. Now I am connecting a client. Now if you want to make sure, let's do a quick troubleshooting, and I will take a packet capture. Ideally I want to basically, let's say Pixel 2. That's my WPA2 client. So I will not capture in the monitor control plane traffic. I will not put my client MAC address because I only have one Windows client and this additional client. I will capture everything on this particular trunk port. My Ethernet port is 2. Now I will apply and start the capture because I want to show what's happening with the client connection. So now I'm connecting, I'm providing my credential. Sometime all client still have, okay, it appeared to be, that client also supported WPA3. Now if I go to monitor client, you can see now this is my Pixel client. Now in here, if I check that client connection, it appeared to be even the Pixel client security information is still supporting FT plus .1x. Okay, that's pretty much, I think, maybe because of, this AKM value. Anyway, it still has able to connect using WPA3. PMF is supported. My Pixel 2 also connected in this particular configuration. So, which is good. Now, if I show the packet capture as well, I anticipated a failure scenario, but now you can see, client did not fail. If I stop the capture, export, I will upload these 2 packet captures, to this video as well. Now, so now the Pixel 2 packet capture, you can see if I filter for management association request, you can see now this is my HTC, which is my Pixel phone. If I, capture the client MAC address, this MAC address, copy value, if I apply to this frame filter, client and filtered for this MAC address, replace that MAC address with my Pixel 2. Now you can see client is probing after some time. Authentication, initially, now you can see couple of time after initially, like a client basically sending some, okay, this may be some, can see the 2 MAC addresses value. Maybe that's being captured twice. Yeah, that's one thing. Basically, be mindful when you're taking packet captures on the controller level. It's not like over there. So it's basically capturing CapWeb traffic. Sometimes you will, like traffic captured twice because it goes to the radius server. Now in here, this is from my controller, to the client traffic, maybe capturing twice. Okay. But anyway, you can get understanding, like authentication, association response, and then .1x. Okay, they go through the .1x process, so certificate validation, and then they do the successful, and then if will be successful. So sometimes you can see like multiple time traffic captured. That's sort of a bit of like a, I think that's based on the way we captured like a controller point. It captured traffic twice, but otherwise you get the idea. You can see the detail. Ideally, advantage here is you can see the unencrypted traffic because it is cutting from the controller level. So hopefully you get the idea. Like now in that way, even I anticipated Pixel client, Pixel 2 client not supporting WPA3 is supporting WPA3. Okay, in that way, at least enterprise scenario point of view, they are captured supporting that. So now I just want to basically wrap up that video like that. In that way, just make sure you understand what we did as a sort of a summary. Now what we talked about is WPA3 enterprise mode. So now in that particular mode, AKM value 5. Now if you really want 11R support, you have to enable AKM value 3. Then you will basically getting, like in today's world, even with AES 128, you will get a MLO connection. But in future, I would assume, I would expect, like a Wi-Fi 7 connection goes to GCMP 256, but that is not being mandated. Most of the vendors, like even Cisco enterprise scenario, we were able to AES 128 MLO connection with Wi-Fi 7 access point. So Windows operating system, now I didn't really show you which operating system version I am using. So now this is supported in 25H2. So now I will do a separate video on this, like Wi-Fi 7 enterprise support, because this is being recently added in the Windows environment. But now that's the enterprise operating system I am using. So if you have an older Windows operating system, you may not able to see MLO connection. Okay, that's being recently added to the Windows environment. In that way now, like as a summary, what we need to keep in mind is, like if you want to enable enterprise WPA3 enterprise only, you limit to 1 AKM, AKM5, and then even with AES 128 encryption. So now I need to find out a WPA2 only client appear to be even my Pixel phone supporting, but now this is the thing. Now just to, because now I think I will do a quick sort of a test one more time. Why? Because I suspecting now, because we did this configuration, because we enable in my .1x SSID, I enable, so in my SSID security, I enable this FT. Let me just remove this and then disable fast transition and update and apply. Okay. Now I would like to go ahead and try my client. Troubleshooting, packet capture. Let's say now update and apply. That will basically still I am capturing, and I will go ahead and start, and let me just go ahead and disconnect the client and connect it back. Yeah, client was able to connect. That means he's supporting WPA3. Okay, now monitor client. You can see 11AC client, my Pixel phone, even with PMF support, security information, is able to connect to this SSID. That means definitely Pixel 2 is supporting at least enterprise environment. His WPA, PMF is supporting because client is connected. With that, now if I go ahead and stop the capture, you will see now export, it will be appear as a Pixel 2. I would say Pixel 2 AKM 5 or something like that. Now if I open that PCAP, so now the Pixel AKM 5, even that one you can see is able to successfully connect. Okay, but don't worry about this duplicate packet. That's based on like a certain the way we captured. I will need to find it out that in detail, but you can see successful connection. So he's able to connect using AKM value 5. But in here association request, if you check, definitely he will tell association request packet. Association request packet RSN value. You can see client basically indicating AKM value being number 5. That's what we are configured. Okay, that means conclusion is client is even Pixel 2 client is supporting WPA3. Now if you had a very old client, legacy client, sometime it may be not able to connect it here. So in the next video we will look at the transition mode configuration, but I want to make sure you understand WPA3 only kind of configuration in this particular setting there. Okay, so until I see you in another video, take care.